4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Hello, Henry.
Hello, Cedric.
Welcome to the show. Welcome behind the stage, despite this not being behind any stage at all. But welcome.
Pleasure is all mine. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. I love to have you on the show because you're a very interesting person to me. First of all, I love talking to you. You're the coolest guy we have in class. Don't tell the others.
It's all right. I was going to say it if you didn't anyway, so
yeah,
fine.
Fair enough. But I also enjoy your opinions on a lot of things. So I'm very happy to have you here on the show, despite it being like a little bit of a, made up setup here.
Impromptu, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pure improv. But yeah, just flying along by the seat of our pants, but it's cool. This is how it works in the biz.
It is.
Yeah.
So we are here in Berlin right now.
We are in Berlin at the world-famous Catalyst Creative Media Studies Institution.
That was a big introduction for a university.
I'm just trying to big it up. What can I say?
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, we're in Berlin right now, but you are not from Berlin. Where are you from?
I am from the UK. I'm from the good old city of Leicester in the East Midlands.
That's the city that no one can pronounce.
No one can pronounce it. Leicester, Leicester. But you know, if you know your football, then you might know the place. Aside from that, not all that much to say. But yeah, I'm from there. Moved away a long time ago, and I lived in Berlin for about 7 years, and moved back to the UK 3 years ago. And I just can't seem to stay away from the place. I just keep coming back.
Oh, it's a very special place, to be honest.
It is, yeah, it is. A lot of different memories, a lot of good people.
Yeah.
Always happy to be back.
Cool. That's really cool. What are you the most excited about being here? Like, not in Berlin. Like, we are like taking this filmmaking class together.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you were surprised about that?
The filmmaking class.
Or Catalyst in total, like that surprises you?
That's a good point. I generally in life, my philosophy is to keep my expectations really low. So everything is a pleasant surprise when it goes well, and if it disappoints me, then I can't get too upset. What was I surprised about? I think the ability to quickly build connections and collaborate, like that's such a big focus of what we're doing here. The theoretical side of things is kind of really taking backstage. Like what you're learning is how to develop those connections, the kind of stuff that working in the industry is built on. That's the focus that I'm taking away from it. But in terms of surprise, I think I was surprised by how goddamn hot it's been while we've been on this course, and we're just melting away.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the heat wave.
the goddamn heat wave. Yeah, it's brutal.
So we're in 41 degrees here in Berlin, and Berlin does not have a lot of places where you can get an AC. So I agree. I actually was supposed to say quite the similar thing. Like I was very surprised on how fast the collaboration started and how fast we got to like put together like a small crew for like a film production and everything, which is really cool despite the heat. Because honestly, over the last weekend, I was just fleeing from the heat wave. I was just like going from cold place to cold place to cold place. And if someone asked me like, hey, you want to go outside? There was this one guy who gave out this Bruno Mars concert ticket, you know?
I heard about that,
and
yeah.
I was like,
that's wild.
Like, damn, I really want to go and see Bruno Mars. But I was like, damn, I really have to leave the Starbucks then. No AC, shit. So yeah, it's something wow.
Yeah. I mean, I promised my friend that I'm staying with that I'd take her to the lake. And obviously everybody had the same idea that day. So we wanted to rent miles, get a rental vehicle. And the only one available in the area she lived was a Mercedes Sprinter van. Oh. So we drove to the lake in like south of the area in a big ass van. And she was having the best time of her life. 'Cause
I can imagine.
Big van energy is a real thing. Like you feel a real sense of superiority to everyone on the road, and she was just loving it. But yeah, that was how desperate we were to get out.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Did the AC work in the van?
Oh hell yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it did.
Good.
It was beautiful.
That was like that was poetic how Ollie invited us, like, hey, I can give you a lift. We sat down in the car and the first thing he said, like, luckily enough, the AC doesn't work. I was like, yeah, of course it doesn't
And
work.
I'm
God damn
gone,
it.
And I'm out. That's all right. I'll walk.
Yeah. It's literally
Yeah.
like, I think it's supposed to rain now. Like, maybe I just get out and walk everything. This like so typical. But yeah, well, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. Something you said is a good point about surprises. I was not expecting them to throw us in the deep end. Like day one, they're like, okay, you're going to make a film within the next week.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, everyone was just rattled by, you know, a lot of people had never even picked up a camera at this point or knew the fundamentals anyway. So we've barely even begun yet. We're supposed to start thinking about it, putting together like a script, organizing the whole thing. But it sounds insane, but it really is a case of learn by doing.
Mm-hmm.
And being put under that pressure is a very toxic boss once said to me, pressure makes diamonds.
It does.
But it definitely does. And yeah, like under that pressure, you see different dynamics emerge in people's behavior. Like you see how groups work, and you can see who's got like, who's got the vision or who's got the drive, and are able to kind of make things come together, or like maybe willing to make the sacrifices, like right off the bat. That's, yeah. Like I knew, you know, I think when I introduced myself to the class, I said the first thing about me was, yeah, I lived in Berlin. I've done the Berlin thing, so it's fine. Like, I'm not here to party. I'm actually here to study and make films. So that really came into my stead of like, I'm staying up late, but because I'm, you know, writing shot lists, editing films, not going clubbing, which now that I've said that makes me sound kind of lame, but it's cool. That's who I am.
I'm doing the same. I went out like last week, Friday, but that was like on business purposes. But besides that, on Saturday I went to the movies. On Sunday I went to bed early. Like I was lame as well. Like, but I'm here to like just get up in the morning, get shit done, like work on the stuff that I like to work on, plan something like the podcast episode. You know, we're here for a reason, and we also paid a lot of money to be here. So why just like go here during the day and then ignore everything and just like go out? It's a lot of fun as well, but like if you're young,
Berlin is intoxicating, and if you're young, it's your first time here. Like, there's so much exciting stuff to do. But what's more exciting than making films? Nothing. Nothing.
That's the passion.
It's so fun. Like, was it not just the most fun thing?
It was
ever, like getting to make a film. It was, yeah, almost killed us, but it was. There was like a moment where I remember during the short we made, where I think I said it to myself, but when, you know, I wasn't in earshot of anyone else, but I literally just said yippee. Just kind of like,
you said yippee?
Quite, yeah. It was when I was like running across the street back and forwards with the actors and like clapping the slate in the middle of the street in the traffic, and I was just having so much fun doing it. I was like, yippee.
That's great. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
You picked this not because you're desperate for a job. You picked this because you want to learn something about filmmaking. You want to get into filmmaking.
Yeah.
Is there anything that inspires you if it comes to filmmaking?
Oh man.
I mean, you're a huge film nerd. Your own words.
You. Yeah.
So,
Big
what's
time.
the one thing that interests you the most?
I think films themselves are cool, and part of me was a bit scared to start getting involved in the process because it might, you know, if I peer behind the curtain, it might ruin the illusion. I know some filmmakers, when they're watching, even if it's a simple episode of TV, they're just sitting there being like, well, that 3-shot could have been a 2-shot, and that editing is really dragging. And I'm like, oh, are you actually dissecting everything you watch? And they're like, yeah. But I was a little bit apprehensive about that. But I think for me, it's the social dynamic of working on a film, so collaborating with other people, it's a hard job, and a lot of people have to have day jobs at the same time. But as I like to say, I've worked a lot of shitty jobs, and this could also be a shitty job, but at least it will be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing for me, like being on a set, being around people, collaborating and making something. That's the part that it inspires me. Like I just want to be in that environment, rather than just doing something. I could get a well-paid office job, just typing away at a computer all day, but I wouldn't be inspired.
Yeah,
and that's what filmmaking is for me. Like I want to do something that I get excited about every day.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, like, it's long hours, it's hard work, it's a lot of pressure as well, but it's just like making up scenes and realizing them and bringing them into the world. It's like a lot of fun. It's just like storytelling. Telling a story is a lot of fun. Like every aspect of like filmmaking can make a lot of fun. And if you bring that together, like people who are like very like good at lighting, I am not, but if you are very good at lighting and you have like a very shitty lit room and you create that into like an amazing set, this is art. This is great. And everyone loves you for that. And there are like so many unsung heroes in the industry that do like amazing work. And I think I cannot start to imagine like how much fulfillment this gives if you're like part of like a massive hit on the box office. Even like if you like just like tricked around a little, like wow, just this must be like crazy feeling.
I don't even think you need to be a part of like a huge blockbuster operation to get an insane sense of fulfillment. Like I can imagine working on a really small indie project, just some friends, no budget, and maybe there was a trick that you came up with as like a gaffer or a sound guy or a DOP where you just did something that was genius on the set, and you can point it out to people and be like, oh that thing that we did there, like that was actually a bit of cardboard and some tin foil, like you never would have guessed it, and you'd feel a real sense of pride in those moments where you get to feel clever about what you're doing. And that's the kind of magic in what this sort of environment allows you to do. You get to do these little tricks and take pride in things. And it doesn't have to be like a huge financial success to get that sentiment either.
Yeah, I agree. On one hand,
right.
I was even like really freaking happy when we got the 1 minute short out. Like it was a lot of fun to just work on it. We're just a bunch of amateurs at this point, and we still managed to like gather up, create an idea, create a crew, and basically film everything in the course of like 2 days. Because like we got the briefing on Monday, we didn't know anyone. And then on Tuesday, we started working on it. And on Thursday was shooting day. So I get what you're saying. But just imagine you're like Sam Raimi. You're Sam Raimi before he was...
Okay, I'm Sam Raimi.
Okay, Spider-Man and stuff, before you were famous and you're working on Evil Dead. And you just come up with, hey, I want to have a chase scene. And you just like take the camera and just run like through the forest, like super narrow and everything, and suddenly like everyone, like your film becomes like indicated and everything, so it's not like available, but after a few years it gets released and it suddenly becomes like a cultural hit, like not even at the box office, like you didn't make much money out of it, but it's a cultural hit. And now like this shot like following the actor like through the forest, like creating this paranoia, is always referred to Sam Raimi's idea. How insane is that?
He's a legend. Drag Me to Hell, I think that was one of his.
Yeah,
that was a big one. That was revolting film, but good fun.
Wasn't that the one with the gypsy?
The gypsy
sorceress?
woman who curses I can't remember what she did to piss her off, but curses are real. Don't piss off gypsies. That's all I can say. I've been cursed twice in my life, and they're real. I know what you're saying. Like having that huge impact socially, culturally, it must be insane. I don't know if I could handle that level of like success, to be honest. Like people just been like, "Oh, you're the guy who did the thing." Like,
I mean, it's different because you're not like a celebrity because of that. It's not like suddenly everyone started screaming, "Well, that's Sam Raimi." It's more like in the industry, in the filmmaking, it was like this shot like conveys so much emotion, and it was perfectly executed in this film, and we want to have a similar emotion, so we're going to do the Sam Raimi shot. And this is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to come up with like a visual gimmick that becomes, you know, immortal in a way. Like, I'm trying to think of the last time we had something like that became almost like meme status. Like, I think of in the anime Akira, there's that very famous like sideways slide on the motorbike, and it's been copied so many times. They call it the Akira.
Is that from Akira?
It's from Akira, yeah.
Wow.
Like the Kaneda, and he's on his cool ass red motorbike. He like turns sideways, does a power slide into the center of the frame, and it's been copied in like The Simpsons. It's probably like Bluey does it. I don't know. But oh yeah, man, that would be sweet. Come up with something like that just lives on forever. But hey, the power of cinema. So on the short we did, the 1 minute short, B26, coming to cinemas.
Look
probably
it up,
never.
It will be on YouTube soon.
Yeah. At what point did you feel like you really felt it, the snowball effect, where you're like, oh yeah, this is coming together? Like, when did it start to feel intoxicating to you?
That was basically when we sat down near the waterfront, and we started like, okay, so this is the idea, and we want to have it like this, and then we started brainstorming, and suddenly we were like picturing the first scenes, how it can look, and you were describing like the kitchen of your friend and everything. That was the moment where I lost track of time, where I was just like getting into it with you, like getting a deep dive into this film, how we can execute it in like a 1 minute short, because there was so much more space to tell, right? Could have more like of the news anchor, we could have done more of transition, and so on and so on. But we were just like narrowing it down to like the limitations that we had, and I completely lost track of time when we were sitting there. I mean, that was the day before the shoot, right? But
It was
still,
like less than 12 hours before we even began the shot.
But it was still like, that was the moment where I was like, we got a script, we got a shot list, we got a cool idea. It's going to be a lot of fun. And like before that, I mean, we were having like pitching ideas, and then we like the groups got fused and everything. So I was like, let's see where this is going. I mean, like on Tuesday, I even came up to him. I was like, oh, should we like even work on that now? Like maybe like tomorrow we're a whole different group. We're like, nah, come on, we skip on that. But that Wednesday evening, that was like, nice. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think for me, I remember when we were going over the shot list and was sitting at a picnic table bench, and I remember just like hopping back and forth, and I was jumping around like a little rabbit, and I was like, okay, all right, imagine like the camera's down here, and then the next shot, like we're coming from over there. And it was like, I was very animated but I felt it was actually quite an effective way to act out the shots, and, you know, saying like, I'm looking down at you and like the camera's up here. I felt like things had really started, it was really, really coming together, and it felt like we had something cohesive, like a solid whole story, rather than just an abstract idea that felt cool, but we didn't know where the story was. Like, we managed to nail it down and got a really solid process all in the space of like 3.5 hours. And then, it just all came together, like super, super lucky. But one aspect of it that I was very apparent about, and I'll definitely remember as I move forward, is that I was so familiar with the location. And because of that, like, I know my friend Nadine's apartment that she let us film at, I know it so well that as I was visualizing the film and all the different shots, I could see exactly how it would work in that space, and like where the camera will be, where everyone else on the set will be because of all the equipment and stuff. And knowing that space, I think that allowed us to work really quickly.
Yeah.
Because I could see exactly how it would come together.
Yeah.
So I think that's something I'll try to definitely keep in mind. Moving on to other projects is just being familiar with the space is paramount to good organization.
Yeah.
Rather than just like, I know, Google some location and look at a few pictures online and
It
think like,
looks
oh,
way different
yeah, like
if you're there in reality.
when you're in there and you get to walk around in the space and think like, I know my equipment, I know my actors, I know what the set is going to look like. That's crucial.
It is indeed. Like, as Simon, our tutor, always says, that preparation is like 70% of the shoot. And I can just sign that statement. It's so important. Like, we were lucky that you knew the apartment, but just imagine we would have like a random ass apartment and we go for like, yeah, we want to have the shot, like we see the alarm clock and then someone's in the back, like very blurry walking, and like there's no space for that.
Yeah.
And we have like, okay, we have a living room and we need to have like the shallow depth of field. So we need to move everything like further to the middle of the room. And we go for like, there is no room for that. It's like a freaking 20 square meters apartment. Like, where do you want to put your stuff? Like, you don't have a camp, you know? Put everything in the hallway outside of the apartment, maybe. But like,
and then you forget like which way the sun's going.
Yeah.
Halfway through the shot, the sun's just gone or something. Like,
it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of preparation. But if you do the preparation right, like, it's such an amazing feeling when you're on set and you can just work your way through the shot list and you realize like, we'll be able to do it. It's amazing, right?
Yeah. I mean, having you on as like first AD, keeping track of the organization was invaluable, because there were points where, due to the intensity and the chaos, we missed some sequences and then got out of sequence, and then it would just twig in my brain and I'd think like, oh damn it, we missed this bit of dialogue and we're gonna have to go back. And you were keeping track on the printouts of the shot list and be like, okay, well, this sequence is now coming before that one, so we need to keep track in the files, and also the continuity of the items and all these things. Like, having that organization made the rest of the work so much easier. Otherwise, I would have been up all night scrambling around with the files. But yeah, it's a good job, man.
Thank you. Thanks, mate. You as well, a great director. But that's why we're sitting here. Is there anything that you
the
would...
next Sam Raimi?
Yeah, look at you. You have the looks already. Is there anything that you would love to create if it comes to like a film, like a project that you would love to realize?
God, I have a note on my phone that is just full of random ideas that I've had about stuff. And then since being on this course, it's made me think so differently about storytelling that I look at those notes and I just think that's trash.
I mean, you can still use it as a basis, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about ideas is more ideas are born out of them. You know, there's no such thing as a bad idea or suggestion, because it might trigger something in your brain that sparks off from there. Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to figure out whether I was more of a documentarian or drawn to narrative fiction, but I think my feeling is that narrative fiction is where it lies for me. In terms of stories, like, oh God, probably something really emotionally wrecking and just full of tension and interplay between actors, and
Very dialogue heavy,
but also a lot of nuance, a lot of, you know, acting in with the body and the facial features. But yeah, I don't know. I think the older I get, the more drawn I am towards compelling emotional drama, because I think that's what most of my life has been. If I was going to describe my life, compelling emotional drama.
That's one way to describe it,
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of actual stories, I don't know. It's like some books that I've read that I think this would be such a challenge to interpret. Horror. I really want to have a go at horror, because it looks like so much fun.
I do see you in a horror movie, like not in a horror movie, but like working on a horror movie.
Yeah.
So I think that's your this would be like a nice platform for you to tell stories, because it can be like very visual, but you can work with a lot of tricks there, a lot of lighting, and it has like, if you like stage it correctly and if you tell a good story, it has very deep meanings. So I think like, wow.
I think, yeah, what always drew me to horror as a kid, and I was drawn way too early. Like some of the stuff I saw when I saw Event Horizon. Do you know that film? Yeah, I saw that when I was like 8, 9 years old, because we had it on a VHS tape on this shelf, like in the family living room, and I saw it. Yeah, I was 8 years old, and I thought, oh, spaceships, science fiction, cool. I'm gonna put it on, and then, yeah, just procedurally traumatized for the next 90 minutes. But I absolutely loved it. I think horror has this capacity to tell stories that are really interesting, that you don't usually get in other genres sometimes. Like whether it's like the monsters, things like that. That was something I was always really drawn to. It was like different cool kinds of monsters and cryptids, like Loch Ness Monster or whatever. Those are found within that genre, and that always drew me in. Yeah. So I think, yeah, I'd like to dip my toe into horror.
Cool.
Quite early on.
Like,
I think
actually really cool. I would see you there, because I think you'd be great in this direction. Absolutely. When you just said you got traumatized as a kid, same here. I think it was 5 or 6, like really young. And in Germany we got something that's called a dame mother, like a daycare mom, so to say, like a host family over the day. While my mom, oh my god, my explainer. While my mom was working during the day. Okay, now I got it. I was there. There's this host family, and the daughter, like, she put on, also like on a VHS tape, she put on I Know What You Did Last Summer Too.
Nice.
It's like a very shitty film. When I was like 5 or 6 or so, I was like, what is happening there? Like, wow, the twist is mind blowing, and why do they all get killed, and what is this hook he has? And I was like,
that was literally like all the point of that film, was like guy with a hook goes killing people. Kills horny teenagers. Yeah.
That's basically all there is.
Gellar.
But yeah, I get it. But because of that, I kind of like got stuck to the genre. I always loved like watching horror movies, like on Halloween, of course. You know, we did like watch parties when we were younger, like at the age of like 13, 14. I watched The Grudge, which like, do you know the Japanese, like, but like the American remake?
Yeah, Ju-on, I think, is the Japanese version, and then The Grudge with Sarah Michelle Gellar
as well. Yeah.
Big Buffy fan over here. Buffy fan. Like
with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Alison Hannigan sort of set me off on a path of falling head over heels for nerd girls. So dangerous.
There you go. Well, like what was it? Like The Grudge always like deeply traumatized me, and like funnily enough, my first girlfriend as well. So she was like scared as fuck whenever I did like the. She was like screaming at me, punching me, everything. She was like, "Stop it!"
Why do we love torturing girls so much? There's something in our nature.
I don't know. Maybe I was just like trying to convince myself that I am not scared anymore.
I'm tough. If I can make fun of it, I'm tough.
Yeah, see, I was like,
I'm terrified.
And my goosebumps went like, boom. But yeah, like this kind of like got me stuck with the horror genre, and that's why I love it so much. Like I kind of like watch it in the movies like quite rarely nowadays, but it's just like such a good genre to experience it like on the big screen.
You say rarely, but you watched Obsession like 2
yeah, but
days
that was
ago.
like the first horror movie that I watched in like 3 years on the big screen.
Really?
Yeah.
3 years?
Yeah, I just watched it like on TV and Netflix and stuff like that.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
Get your ass to the cinema.
Yeah,
good stuff
I
coming
know.
out.
I got so, not lazy, like the cinema's not work, but like I got so like, I don't know, caught up in every like other things that I want to go more often actually. Like movie theaters are great. They are great, and it's just like such a good time to spend.
There's something to be said about experiencing a film in that context of it's the big experience, the better speakers, better screen, yes, but also being around other people. I remember seeing a film when I was in Copenhagen over New Year's, and the Danes really love to interact with films. Like, if there's a funny moment, everyone will laugh. And it's it's a very heartwarming thing to be in a room where everyone is just enjoying the joke. And I wasn't expecting it. I was sitting there as a Brit, just sort of expecting to quietly sit in the dark and just sort of go along and just nod and be like, yep, I'm enjoying the film, this is fine. And then everyone exploded into uproarious laughter, and it just tickled me. It made me smile so much. But that experience is like, you have to go to the cinema for that. And yeah, I mean, I've been going to the cinema like at least once a week for as long as I can remember. So big film nerd.
That's so cool though. I mean, I just realized, like, when I was watching Obsession this Saturday, like the whole cinema was feeling the same.
Yeah.
And that's probably what you're trying to explain.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
trying to give me.
You
Because, like,
pick up on that energy.
even in Germany, you don't have that often in Germany. Everyone was feeling the same, and everyone was expressing the same feelings at the same time, because there was like the I'm not going to spoil anything, but the car brick scene, you know, everyone was, oh my god. Afterwards, there were like literally like people saying, oh my god, what happened there, like loudly in the cinema. Also, the bathroom scene at the very end, without spoiling anything, when like he was trying to do something and he got stopped,
and a thing happens.
And he got stopped doing that. Everyone was like, no, come on. Like, everyone was so frustrated that it's like, please don't fucking back off there. This is the right thing to do. That, like, wow, holy shit. Like, wow.
There's so much to say about that film, and it's been on my mind for weeks, and I keep telling people to go watch it, and so I can talk about it, and they come out of it traumatized, and they just say, Henry, I don't want to talk about it. It was absolutely horrible, but horrible in the best way. It's such a simple premise, like the whole thing, the whole reason for the story. It's a very shop worn premise, but they just do it so effectively. That is the kind of thing that really inspires me when it comes to filmmaking. Just taking something that is so simple but doing it amazingly well, like knowing your craft to that degree.
What was it, like 4 sets maybe? That's it. There was like not widely spread out.
Yeah, I mean,
no budget, like indie actors. Insane.
Yeah. And I know everyone's talking about it, but it's like, don't let the hype put you off enjoying it. It is fully worth it, and I think it's one of those films that will get talked about for a long time. We had, like, at the start of this year, Marty Supreme was the one with like the big hype, the big buzz, and they did market the shit out of it, and they did a good job. And was it both Safdie brothers, or was it just one of them, the directors? When they make a film, it's just like anxiety porn is how I've always phrased it. Like, you just want a cigarette the whole time you're watching it because it's so stressful. So they did that thing again, and it's fine. But I did like the film, but I didn't feel like it was going to make any cultural,
relevance.
Just like really shake up the landscape. It wasn't going to make any ripples. Like, we're not going to keep talking about it in 10 years' time. But Obsession, that definitely, in my mind, it definitely will be, because it's just there was been no precedent. Like, it's just so fucking good. It's so good.
It is indeed. It's incredible what they did with that. I'm super excited to watch Backrooms, because everyone's like comparing them. Not like against each other, but like Backrooms is like an internet story that got basically put on the big screen, low budget, not as low as like Obsession, but like low budget, young director.
Both young directors,
and suddenly it like blew up. Obsession, obviously, pretty much the same, like super low budget, less than $1 million. Super young and pretty much unknown director, like just from the YouTube scene, and suddenly blew up like crazy. Which is why I'm super excited to watch Backrooms. but there are like plenty of films like over the past 2 years, I'd say, that were like more and more like getting buzz despite being like not properly like advertised. They did have a low budget, unknown directors, but I think it's going in a direction that I really appreciate, where directors or like production studios in general get more like popular again. Because back in the day, you were like, okay, there's a new Christopher Nolan movie, there's a new Quentin Tarantino movie, there's a new, or even further, there's a new Spielberg or Scorsese movie. You know, people went to the movies because a specific director brought out a new film.
There's a big name attached to it.
Yes. And this kind of like faded away over the last few years. And I think this is coming up again. Like I'm very excited for the next movie that Curry Barker is doing, for example.
Yeah, I think there's a conversation happening about a new school of filmmakers and a new way to do it, if that makes sense. You know, like Curry Barker and Kane Parsons, both people that came through an alternative path. One was, you know, like a YouTube comedian who was just doing bits with his mate, and the other was a, you know, Reddit basement dweller. No shade thrown at Kane Parsons. Like, I've spent enough time on Reddit, but essentially it grew out of an internet subculture, and they're not coming through the usual channels as filmmakers, and that is such an interesting thing to witness happening. The industry is like being shaken up, and that's what it's needed, and that's why it's fun to watch both of these things simultaneously come around at the same time. So I think if just one of those films had come out, it would have been kind of a footnote of like, oh, it's kind of cool that he's really young and done YouTube. But then they both came out at the same time, and it feels like, okay, there's a wave happening.
They're taking over.
Yeah, it's a wave happening, and it's inspiring people as well. Like that's yeah. I feel like now is a really good time to have these kind of ambitions. Yeah,
I agree. Like, I think more studios will be open for like indie productions. More studios will be open for like indie scripts, for new faces in the industry. If you're ambitious in filmmaking, get to know your craft and just get creating. Like, I think this is the time.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And we're here.
And we're here. We're in film school, so we've done everything perfectly fine.
We are the new wave, and we're taking over.
Okay. I need to check the time real quick.
Yeah.
If we have some time, I have another question for you. But we barely have a few minutes left. So we're coming to an end, which is why I'm going to briefly ask you. I told you that I'm very interested.
We could always do part two.
We could also do part two.
Do you want to do a part two?
Yeah, we can do part two.
Do a part two.
All right.
Okay. I don't know.
Then I still have one question though that I ask every single guest I have on my show.
Okay.
For you, I would like to alter it, but no, we're taking it. We're taking it from here. Maybe I'll alter it for part two. Do you have a song in mind that is currently like that touches you like emotionally, or that is just like stuck in your head like crazy right now, or like of all time, like maybe a favorite song of all time?
God damn. Oh,
same reaction every time.
There's a song that my friend sent me that he made. It was like an a cappella adaptation of a South African funeral hymn that he made for his grandma passing away, that like I think about all the time. It's so touching, but it's not the kind of thing that I can say like, oh, go check out this song. It literally lives on my phone. That's the only place it is. That was great, but I'll just share my go-to karaoke pick every single time, because I'm terrible with lyrics. I'm really bad at remembering them, and this song does not have that many, so it makes it dead easy. The song is called Goodbye Horses. The artist is Q Lazarus. That's the letter Q.
I've never heard
Lazarus. Have you seen Silence of the Lambs?
Yes, I do.
You'll know the song. Buffalo Bill is keeping the woman trapped in the basement, and then he plays the song, and he does the scene where he like tucks his junk between his legs,
Yeah.
and he like is holding his
Yeah.
nightgown and dancing to this song. It was a 80s banger it was sang by a taxi driver. It was the only song she ever did, because as soon as she was cast into the limelight, she decided like, nope, don't like being that famous, that public, so removed herself from it. I would describe it as sexy music for goths. Yeah. So that's...
May I just say that after you described the scene from Silence of the Lamb, it's a little bit messed up that that's your karaoke song.
It's not because it's from Silence of the Lambs, but it does add a little element of unsettlingness to it. It kind of, if people know it, they're like, that's a really weird pick. I'm like, yeah, but it is a certified heater. It bangs. It's so good. But yeah, that's my first pick. I'm gonna have a think.
Okay.
For the next round.
Round next
2.
episode, you can have a second pick.
All right.
I just hope in case we go for karaoke that you don't stand there and like dance around like that.
Oh, I will. I definitely.
my
I make
God.
it into a performance.
Oh
yeah.
God. Okay. That's it for today, guys. That was a closing line.